All right, gang, another week, another race. No Wheelersburg this time. I realize we've been going to Wheelersburg a lot lately. It's the closest and easiest track for us to go to. It's the one we've been having the most success at. So that's where I've been wanting to race at, I guess. But I will admit, I'm starting to get a little bored of it. I can't really do the same track week in and week out all the freaking time because I start to get a little bored and a little into bad habits and just meh, you know what I mean? Like, it gets boring. I like to travel and I like to go other places. So this week, we're going somewhere else. No Wheelersburg. We are going to Little Musky Speedway in Zanesville, Ohio. I've never been there before, technically. So it's outside of the Muskingum Speedway track, the big track. I've been there before to watch sprint cars and late models, but I've never actually been to the kart track. In fact, I don't even think the kart track existed whenever I went there to watch sprint cars and late models. So I've only ever seen pictures of the kart track, and most of those pictures were honestly victory lane pictures. There's not a lot of pictures of the whole track. I've never seen videos or anything, so I don't really know what to expect, but they are having a Predator Nationals on Friday. And you heard that right. I am making my return to Predator racing this week. I know I said I was never going to run Predator again, but if you've watched this channel, you realize I'm a liar. And when I say I'm not going to go to Liberty, I go to Liberty. And, you know, when I say I'm taking the week off, I end up racing. And anyway, I'm a big fat liar. So I'm making my return to Predator racing this weekend for the Predator Nationals at Little Musky Speedway. We're going to take one kart, this bad boy right here. And that's what I'm going to start getting ready. I'm actually going to take the weight off of it. So it's actually an Ohio Valley Predator race. And the Ohio Valley Predator is actually what we ran at Wheelersburg a few weeks ago on Sunday. And it has like, oh, I don't have an engine here to show you, but it has like a weenie pipe on it. And I think the rules on them are honestly pretty open. I think you can run bigger valve springs and some other stuff. And I could be wrong on that. I only ran it the one time and it wasn't my engine. But the reason I'm taking the weight off is if you run a box stock Predator, there's no weight limit. So you can go out and run Predator 400 with a box stock Predator and not have to weigh 400. So that's what I'm going to do. We're going to put a box stock Predator on there with no weight. And I'm kind of interested to see how this works. Like, will the advantage of the no weight overcome the disadvantage of the stock engine? Or will the advantage of a built-up engine outweigh the advantage of the no weight? You know what I mean? So, like, will being lighter with a stock engine be faster than being heavier with a built-up engine? I'm kind of interested to see how that works. So with that being said, I don't know how we'll do. I don't know how we'll finish. Like, maybe I'll just be, even though I'll be lighter, maybe I'll still be way too underpowered, or maybe being lighter will help me against the guys weighing 400. Kind of interesting to see in an interesting class setup and class structure. That's what they did at Wheelersburg too. And first, second, and third, I finished third. We all had the Ohio Valley Predators on. So at least at Wheelersburg, the horsepower seemed to help out more because, like I said, first, second, and third, we all had the Ohio Valley Predators. Now, I do think fourth was a stock Predator, but I'm not sure after that. But the top three was swept by the built-up engines. So interesting to see how this goes. I know Little Musky is pretty small, so I don't know if maybe that'll play into effect where, you know, they can't get the power down or can't get them built up as fast or whatever. I don't know, but kind of interesting. We're going to take one kart. We're going to take the red one here. I'm going to get the weight off of it. And we're going to do this little old school. We're not going to take the trailer. I'm only going to take one tires. We're going to throw it in the back of the truck and maybe have a nice, easy day running one class, not messing with a lot of stuff, not running around like crazy. And we'll see how we stack up with the stock engine and the no weight. So pretty interested, and I'm going to get busy ripping lead off this thing. So I'll see you at Little Musky for the Predator Nationals. ATV Nationals. So the cool part about Little Musky is it's located in the pit area of Muskingum County Speedway. Muskingum County Speedway is owned by the Moran family of the late model fame, Donnie Moran, Devin Moran, that whole gang. I've been here before to watch sprint cars actually. A long time ago, whenever I was a kid, me and my uncle kind of did the entire Ohio Sprint Speed Week thing. And we came out down here to watch the Ohio Sprint Speed Week race. And I remember this being the dustiest track I've ever been to and being absolutely dumbfounded because before hot laps there was standing water on the tracks, like actual puddles of water on the track. And as soon as the first car hit the track, it was so dusty you couldn't hardly see. And as a little kid, that's the first time I had ever seen standing water on a track turn just to straight dust immediately. But that was a long time ago. I'm sure it's better now. I don't really know. I know the Morans put a lot of time and effort into this place. So kind of cool that we're racing in the pit of a big track, which this isn't the first time we've done this, but nonetheless, I think it's cool every time we get to come to one of these places and race around our little go-karts right next to where the big dogs all race. Alrighty, here it is, Little Musky. It's actually not as small as I was expecting. It's still pretty small, but I was expecting way smaller. The track itself looks nice, the surface looks nice. I don't really know what to expect. I am feeling a bit underprepared. So as you all saw, we loaded her up in the back of the truck. And I thought we were doing all right with being prepared and everything, but the gear that I put on at home and the gears I brought apparently are the wrong gears. So the gears I brought are all way too low from, I guess, what we actually need, and I didn't bring my whole array of gears. So we might be a little screwed there. We borrowed a gear from Larry. He's pitted right next to us, thank God. But yeah, the gear we were told is way lower than I guess what is actually being told. So I guess Larry was told the wrong gear on accident or something. I don't really know, but yeah, we don't necessarily have everything we need, unfortunately, but I don't know, maybe we'll be okay, maybe we won't. But the track itself is a lot nicer than honestly what I was expecting, which, not to sound mean, but I've not read or seen a whole lot of super great things, but it looks really nice. It's bigger than I thought. The track looks smooth, looks like they got a lot of water in it. The pits are nice. I don't know, pleasantly surprised, I think. So hopefully we can do all right with what limited resources we brought. Kind of regretting that decision now, but whatever, we'll make the best of it and have a good time. if you can hear me, mid-race update. They run way too fast of a show for 2 classes. The weight advantage is not an advantage at all on this small track, and we were very unprepared and started way too high on gear. We've got everything better, gear and handling and everything, but yeah, the weight advantage is not an advantage at all.
What's that? Touch bolt. Oh.
Touch bolt.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, what happened?
Clutch bolt fell out.
Oh, shit.
It happened.
I don't know what the hell this road is that the GPS has us going down on. Oh my god. But I'm really, really glad we don't have the trailer for this. And this isn't even the bad part. There were some tight ass turns with no warning and no light, and it's not very wide. Oh man. Yeah, here's shit banging off the side of the truck. This is rough. I am very glad we decided to travel light and don't have the trailer, because I don't know if we would have made it down this road. I wish I had some video of the real tight and scary parts. Oh look.
Continue on Creamery Road.
All right, a nice normal road.
Hallelujah.
Oh yeah, that's the stuff right there. That is nice. All right, that was like an absolute redneck good time there. Total blast. I don't remember what my 3 takeaways were from the little midway race update there, but this place is awesome, and it's exactly what it needs to be, and it never needs to change. Not every racetrack needs to be a Clay City or a Wheelersburg or a Paradise or a Possum Kingdom or a Godspeed. You know, some places are just meant to be what they are. This is like total backyard track vibes, like just a bunch of dudes getting together, having a good time. They're all running like super old flexed out go-karts with big power and, you know, driving sideways and ripping the lip, and it just looks like a ton of fun. And it's exactly what it needs to be. They don't need to put up any big money. They don't need 200 and 300 go-karts. What they have going on is absolutely perfect for that place, and it never needs to change, and it was so much fun. I think, obviously, we had a lot of issues. The cart was way too tight. We were way over geared. We were way overthinking things. Honestly, once we just stopped, we got better. So we dropped a whole bunch of teeth. We put the Gramps tires on from Wheelersburg. We didn't even wash them. You know, we just prepped right over the frickin' dirt, and that's whenever we started to get better. So I think, honestly, the way that track is and the class setup, because those like OVPC Predators, the ones that are built up with the weenie pipes, them dudes are frickin' fast. I don't totally know the rules on them, but I know they're built up pretty good and got a decent amount of power. I mean, when you can run sideways through the corner on the high line and just fucking blow by people going down the straightaway, you're making some good speed. So I thought the weight break would have been an advantage, and it definitely was not an advantage at all. That stock Predator did not have enough balls to run with those guys. I mean, if I got the cart a little sideways, it would bog down. If it was a little too tight, it would bog down. I wasn't able to get on the throttle and just power out of the corner. So lesson learned there. If we ever do go back, we got to, you know, put a big old OVPC Predator on there and let that thing rip, because that's apparently what worked, you know. At Wheelersburg, the weight break was an actual advantage, but Wheelersburg's a big, fast, high-grip, well-prepared track. And not saying that this place wasn't well-prepared. It was smooth. It had a ton of moisture. The track surface was actually really, really, really nice. But I think just with the size and the style of racing, the stock Predator was not the way to go. And honestly, I'm not so sure these karts are the way to go. You know, they're super stiff, super high-cross karts, and the dudes that were just absolutely freaking ripping we're on like super old, you know, flexed out, low cross, honestly pieces of junk, but they were freaking fast. So I think if we had a big old OVPC Predator and some like flexed out piece of junk that we could put like 40% cross in and just go out there and just wheel that thing around sideways, we would have honestly been faster. So, which is totally fine. I think that's awesome. You know, low budget, family friendly, like go out there, have a good time racing. That is what it needs to be. You know, nobody with huge trailers and toter homes and rows and rows and rows and rows and rows of tires. You know, there's a bunch of people pitting out the backs of trucks and vans and these little trailers and open trailers, and it was just awesome. Redneck good time. You know, we struggled. Though honestly, those dudes were kicking my ass. Like I said, we were way too tight, way over geared, and we loosened it up. We dropped a bunch of gear, and we actually got quicker. So, you know, I transferred out of both B mains into the A. I went 12th, 13th, something like that, to 5th in the 400, and then obviously bad luck there in the 350. But like, once we stopped trying and overthinking it and, you know, changing tires and this and that and all that, we got better. And I think that's just the name of the game when it comes to that style of racing. Just go out there, rip it around, and have a good time, and you'll do better. You know, we were back there overthinking shit, and once we just stopped, we got better. But lesson learned. If we go back, we'll put a big old OVPC Predator on there. Like I said, I don't know the rules, but those dudes absolutely rip. And not upset with the results. I'll take a 5th with being underpowered and not knowing what the hell I'm doing, and honestly not being nowhere near free enough. Like, I think if we had like my old Razor from 2006, I think that Razor would absolutely freaking get it around that place. Like, it reminds me a lot of the backyard tracks from down home way back in the day, Lumbeck and Wakefield. Like, the karts that went around really, really, really good there were like 2002, 2003, 2004 karts, and that's what I noticed at Little Musky was them old karts with some junk ass tires and big power, just straight up rip around that place. So it was really cool to see that kind of thing like still exists in karting. Like even Cridersville is not that. You got people on new karts and new tires and brand new Excalibur engines. Even Cridersville, for being what it is, everybody's got brand new nice stuff, and they freaking it was just nice to see that still existed, and it was super cool. I don't think the results were what Larry wanted. So like, I was in the B main, Larry's kart was in the B main. There was a dude there with a leather jacket, and leather jacket guy was also in the B main. So us, we just got our asses kicked. I think Larry was almost expecting to go down there and run 1-2 and everything, and it did not happen. And honestly, good for those guys. Like I said, they don't have a lot of money, they don't have the best stuff, the nicest stuff, and they're out there winning races and having fun and ripping the lip, and that is what it is all about. And I am here for it. It was great. Loved it. I think my only maybe negative, my only takeaway, I don't know, is that they need to slow the show down a little bit. It was a little too fast. It got to the point to where like people were missing races and not making it out for their heats or even their features, and like we even stopped going back to the truck. We just didn't have time to even go back to the truck. We were basically coming off, putting it on the stand, checking air real quick, and going right back out. So my only negative is maybe slow the show down a little bit. I understand you want to run fast and get people out there, and I appreciate that. But you also got to give people time to get their stuff ready. So 2 classes was way too many, but man, Redneck, good time. It was just awesome. It does not need to change. It is perfect for what it is and what they're doing, and just good freaking job. Loved it. That's that. Next week we'll be back. We're gonna probably do 2 days, Saturday, Sunday. Saturday, I think the plan is Wheelersburg, with plan B maybe being Jennings County, and then Sunday I think the plan might be Farmers if I can get a set of Vegas, and I might mount up a set of Reapers here just to have as an option if I can't get Vegas. But that's the plan for next week. Saturday, Sunday. I know Wheelersburg's putting up some money, and I think Jennings is putting up a lot of money. So those are our plans for Saturday, and I don't know what Farmers is doing, but it's close, so whatever. That's that. Freaking a great time. If you just want to go out there and let loose and have a redneck good time, go to Little Musky, because that place was cool. And I'll see you at the next one.